Hello and welcome back to another episode of TACHES Teaches. I'm Tash, and in today's video I'd like to show you something quite cool you can do with an EQ and a few bands with some very sharp resonances. So without further ado, let's jump right in and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about.
The technique I want to show you today is a rather creative use of the EQ. What with the insane modulation capabilities of Bitwig, it's very easy to create rather wild, extreme, fantastic effects, and I mean effects as in like really changing the characteristic of a sound with the EQ. So I've made a little chord progression here and some drums, just sounds like this. It's alright, the chords are quite cool. I tried to spell a word and I wrote bad, so that's a B major, an A major and a D major, which isn't actually in a key, so this has led to it having a rather jazzy feel, we should say. But what I want to show you is starting with the EQ plus. I like to use the EQ plus just because it's visually very pleasing. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one band and I'm going to make this very sharp, and for the sake of demonstrating what we're going to do, I'll just play it and I'll move this value. So as I'm moving that, we're creating resonant peaks in places where maybe there wasn't so much of that frequency, and in certain areas we're actually just creating like a bit of a problem. But what we're going to do is we're going to make that wobble in time with the track, and I like to use the step sequencer for this, just because of I love the dice, the ability to just create a random pattern. I'm going to use that to modulate this. I don't know how much per se, but as we now dice it, you can now hear that it's leaving the sound exactly as it is, but it's adding on top of it these delicious little digital kind of slidey sounds. But it doesn't have to end there. We could also add another band. Let's make this nice and tight again. Probably don't need to go up 30 dBs. Let's put that to about 10. And I'm going to duplicate this down. I'm going to drag and duplicate. So I'm using one hand with my microphone, and we're going to slap this on there. And again, let's just randomize the pattern. Nice. Now let's add another one. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's add one more band here. Very cool. And we don't have to always be increasing the frequencies. Some of them could, in fact, decrease the frequencies. So if we add one more as well, let's just make it 4. And I'm going to let's cut this by 10 dBs as well. This will then create sort of peaks and troughs in the frequencies that can really give some great results. Very cool. I wonder what would happen if we then filtered that afterwards as well. What if we copy the same technique and put that on here? I mean, that's just fucking fantastic. Very cool. One other rather cool use for this is not just on musical instruments, but on drums as well. So I've got here just the drum group, and I did exactly the same thing here earlier, just with a bunch of step sequences, 2 of them pulling the frequency down, 2 of them pushing it up. But you can see as I start to bring this in, it adds a certain something to whatever it is that you're adding that... And again, let's turn that off. Bring it back on again. Let's dice these up a bit. Oh, it's just fantastic. Let's see what that sounds like in the context of the track as well. And of course they don't also have to be 16th notes. You could make this slower. And in fact, let's make it an odd pattern so it loops weird, and we'll make this 8th notes. Let's set up a little key so we can turn it off. Okay, so let's see the before and the after. I mean, it just adds so much. Well, there we go. That's today's little quick tip. I hope you've enjoyed this, and see you in the next video.
Well folks, that's sadly all we have time for today, but I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and smash that notifications button too if you'd like to keep up to date with my future videos. In the meantime, happy Wednesday and happy creating. Vroom, vroom.